Alright, we are streaming. Let's go ahead and let me just start recording this, I guess. Twitch. Go ahead and send out a message to the Discord. Okay.
Oh, there goes my.
Is that your Discord?
What?
Do you have notifications from Discord, or do you mute the server?
I do have the notifications on it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I saw the new mention. I just was like,
you might want to mute it so you don't get any noises or anything. Oh yeah, but you're not recording it. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. Okay. No, you're not recording it. I mute everything on Discord. Yeah.
Don't we have streamer mode enabled? So if you have streamer mode, it'll.
Oh yeah. You don't have any notifications. That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't actually make any sound. It'll still flash, but that's it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Okay, alrighty. I won't worry too much about Twitch. If people want to come by, they can watch. If they don't want to, they'll see it on YouTube probably. So,
Sounds good to me.
And audio's coming through just fine. How do I sound on your end? Does it sound okay?
For the most part, we have a teeny break every now and then, but that could just be Discord.
Oh, is
and
it just
not internet.
Does it sound a little choppy or something?
Sometimes, like there might be a little bit of a robotic at little pieces, but it's not too bad.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So this is E4, and you told me that you've got a few hours in it to understand the basics, but just playing on your own in a campaign is kind of difficult.
Yeah,
So,
I've got probably enough time to understand the old interface at that. I'm kind of now seeing that there's new stuff with all the new patches. I'm just kind of running through it, trying to see it. Not too bad.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, why don't we can probably go on, I think, speed. Let's just go on speed 2 right now. And then I probably could just tell you some basic things, like on the surface level, what you want to know, the basic things that you would like to know about the game. I could probably just talk about that. If we get any wars or anything like that, we can settle that out. So let's go on speed 2. So what things about EU4 have you found? What would you like to know? Where would you want to start? Like the user interface or warfare or something, or what's up?
Well, I guess right now let's start with the user interface because it's a little different. I mean, the base stuff, I understand. The legitimacy, your prestige, your outlier, your outliners and stuff like that. I get that. I just now see like this Age of Discovery little tab at the top that's different.
Yeah, do you have all the DLCs and such?
I did, yeah. I went ahead and
grabbed them all.
I got them all.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll start with the top bar. So the shield is you, obviously. And do you see how it's glowing orange?
Yeah.
It means that we are a great power. There's 8 great powers in the world. There's a little blue flag by the shield. You see that?
Yeah, I got it.
It says view the great powers. So we're number 7. To increase our rank, we have to beat the Timurids, and their great power rating is 306. And then to keep our current rank, we must remain ahead of Castile with their great power rank of 243. And then ours is 257.
Okay, what contributes to great power ranking?
Usually, you can actually open up the great power list. Go ahead and click on it on the blue flag.
All right.
And you're gonna see the name of a country. You're going to see what rank they are. You're going to see the first, it kind of looks like 3 pillars.
Mm-hmm.
That's rating. That's like your overall rating. And that rating is the rating of your development divided by the current technology cost.
Okay.
So your development is what provinces are worth, right? The more development, the wealthier the province, the stronger it is, the more manpower it gives you, more money you get. But also the more difficult it is to usually get in a war. Like the most wealthy provinces, most well populated, those are the most difficult to seize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now you can see Ming, the big motherfucker that you probably heard memes about. This guy's got 1,113 development at the beginning of the game, so he's by far the strongest power in the world at this time. His development, you can actually go to the not the rate where it says rating, but the second it looks like a chart. That's his actual development.
Okay, yeah.
So he's got 1,113. And do you know about technology cost?
I'm aware of what technology costs can do.
So technology cost is how much it takes for you to get technology.
Right.
The base is 100%, right? 100% is just your normal technology cost. Anything preferably below 100% would be like, oh, you're getting this technology at a discount. Anything above 100% is you getting your technology at a penalty. It's costing you more than it should. There's something going on that's affecting your technology cost. So preferably, you want to take technology at a discount, and you want to keep your development high. Basically, like those two things right there is enough to play EU4.
Okay.
Basically. So we as
So-
Lithuania, how much?
So better development,
Mhm.
100% technology. That's what we want.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
various things that are going to make both those very, very difficult. People will declare wars on you. You're going to have rebellions. You're going to have, these crazy ass wars that you get involved in because your ally wanted to conquer some land and he was a son of a bitch. All sorts of stuff can happen. And EU4 is a game that doesn't have any objectives. There's no way to win the game. Winning is what you want it to be, So every single one of these countries that's on the map, some of them play similar, but none of them are exactly alike. A lot of them play quite differently. Most of the meme countries that you heard about, the countries that are the strongest, most powerful, the ones that are always a son of a bitch to fight, is the Ottomans, France, Ming, usually Muscovy, Castile. Those are the big ones. Poland and Lithuania can actually be kind of a bitch. Say you put it in the hands of a capable player, like, I don't know, if I was playing Lithuania, which we're playing right now, like in a single player campaign, I could probably, fuck some people up as Lithuania. Or Poland. Poland's actually really strong too. Because they're wealthy. They're very, very wealthy. Let's see. Let's go ahead and click on the big flag in the left.
Okay. Just so you know, I stopped it because we do have a little pop-up that did come up. So.
Oh yeah, what's the event? What does it say?
Unhappiness among the artisans. We can either execute the troublemakers or lose or abolish attacks. And yeah, the burghers estate loses 5 loyalty if we execute them, and we lose 1 stability, which we probably don't want to do that. Or we can lose 64 ducats, and the burghers gain 10.
So you're gonna want to abolish the tax and pay the money. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Go for it. Yep. So the let's actually just go before we go and dive into the actual user interface for government. Let's take a look at our top bar. So money is money. It's expendable. You get stuff from taxation, production, trade, and you lose it from state maintenance, army maintenance, fleet maintenance, fort maintenance, and plenty of other expenses because running countries is a fucking expensive business. You want money in your treasury when you go to war, but when you're at peace and your country is doing well, you have manpower, you have sailors, you've got, buildings being built. You don't really want to store too much money. You want to be spending it. You want to, always be building buildings, always getting more troops, not keeping too much in your treasury. Obviously, if you have to pay the debt off when you can. But, shit, about, modern day United States politics. Don't take debt,
Right.
Have some revenue, don't be in a deficit. Manpower is very important. Manpower is how you fund your regular armies. To raise troops, it costs manpower. To reinforce them, it costs manpower. And when you fight wars or when you have attrition, you lose manpower. It comes back very, very slowly. So you can actually hover over manpower. Our maximum that we can have is 22,000 men, which is not a lot. That's not a lot at all. And we only gain 210 each month. So each regiment's 1,000 men. So it would take us 5 months to reinforce just 1 regiment of men.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So losing manpower, literally, I would declare wars on, AI nations and things like that and other nations. When they have no manpower, you're really putting their backs against the wall. It's something that it's important to keep in mind. The only other troops that you can raise in this game are mercenaries. Mercenaries do not cost manpower, but they do cost a shit ton of money. A shit ton. We can actually go ahead and click the sword and the hammer on your left. It's your production interface. Do you see that?
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead and click on that. You have land units, and then you have mercenaries. Your land units are regulars. The mercenaries are mercs. We call them mercs. Mercenaries are incredibly expensive compared to regulars. It's always better to have your regulars in the field. Mercenaries are, what, 29 ducats to raise and 0.52 to maintain per month. So if your back's against the wall, no manpower, you either peace out or you get mercenaries. Never raise cavalry mercenaries and never raise artillery mercenaries. They will bleed your country dry money. They're really, really expensive. If you're a good player, you should never have to do that. You know? So that's mercs. You know, that's your manpower and that's your mercs. Sailors is for your navy. All your ships require sailors. When they're outside in the water, they need sailors. You have to be able to replenish your sailors. If you don't have any sailors, your navy decreases in strength, so they die faster and are less efficient in combat. You know, the sailor's mechanic, not a lot of people like it, so you know, I don't know. It's whatever. I've never really found sailors to be a huge problem, but we don't even have a port anyway, besides in the south, near Crimea. We only have two naval ports, so it's not that big of a deal to have sailors.
So I guess, is it 50 maximum per port? Is that how it works, or is that just those two ports are bad?
I believe that's a base. Yeah, that's a base. Yeah. I think it's 50 sailors per port, and there's buildings that you can use to get more sailors per month. But honestly, since we're Lithuania, we probably don't need that strong of a navy. We won't worry about it.
Okay. I'm aware of the meme that is sailors and how people hate it or love it or hate it, and not very many people love it.
Yeah. If it was me, honestly, I made a mod for EU4 before they introduced sailors that actually made it so that ships cost manpower. That to me made more sense because that gave you the option that kind of forced you to decide, hey, do I want manpower for ships or manpower for troops? And do I get rid of the navy to get more manpower for my land army? Do I, you know, and I felt it was more of a strategic decision to build ships with manpower than it was with sailors. Sailors on their own is not a good mechanic, I don't think. If you had to get rid of sailors and just build ships with manpower, I think that would have been much smarter.
I have to agree on that, actually.
Yeah. One other thing that I wish EU4 would do if it was more realistic is all of your forts. Do you see the fortresses that we have?
Yeah, I see them.
I wish that those garrisons were also from manpower. They're actually not. They recover men just from some invisible manpower pool. They actually don't recover from yours, which is weird. It's fucking weird, dude. Like, where the fuck do they come from? You know?
They're conscripted.
Which is interesting because, you know, everybody thinks the manpower in the top left is also conscripted men. It's not volunteers, but I don't know. Fuck it could be either, I guess. You know? But anyway, yeah. So the next item in the top bar is your stability. High stability is good. Low stability is bad. You're usually going to be at 0, which is neutral. Preferably, if you can, try to be at +1. There's a few benefits that you have at +1. But it's expensive. It costs monarch points. Do you know what monarch points are?
A little.
So, monarch points are basically your most valuable currency. And you generate them by whoever you have in power in your country, whether you're a principality, like a kingdom or an empire or some shit, or a republic, which is, you know, you have elections, you get to choose to a certain degree who are your rulers. Let's open up the country view, which is a big shield. Go ahead and click on that.
Okay.
And go all the way to the left. There's a crown. It says court. Go and click on that.
All right.
So, our ruler is Grand Duke of Lithuania, Casimir Jagiellon. You can actually hover over his name. It'll tell you some stuff about him. He's a 441. So those numbers can range from 0 to 6. So we have a 4 in what we call paper mana. If you ever played like World of Warcraft or something. We have a 4 in paper mana, a 4 in bird mana, and a 1 in military mana. Which means He's good at administrative stuff. He's good at diplomatic stuff, and he's shitty at military stuff. The paper is administrative skill. The bird is diplomatic skill, and the sword is military skill. The best rulers would be a 666 in all categories, but that usually doesn't happen. They're incredibly rare. You don't really get them. So a 441 is actually a pretty decent king. You usually you can total up the numbers. What is the total of those numbers, of those three numbers added together?
9.
That's right. So we have a king whose overall skill is a 9. You want anything above 6 or more. That's like a decent king, which is basically a minimum of 2 in every category, if you can give or take it. Really good kings are like 10 and above, and a 666 ruler is 18, right?
Right.
So minimum of 6 if you can get it. 10 or 11 is pretty decent. That's a pretty good king. You can do a lot with that. And then the best king ever is a 666 ruler. So he's got 6 admin skill, 6 diplo skill, 6 military skill.
So that would be like the guy you want to hide in a bunker, underneath your capital, and never have him go outside ever.
Yeah, basically. You never want him to, you don't want to make your ruler a general. You don't want to make your ruler, be on a ship or something like that. Make him an admiral. You don't want none of that. You want your best rulers to not be in the field leading armies and shit. Because you can actually turn your king into a soldier. You don't want that.
Right.
So yeah, those monarch points, those are the monarch points that you generate every month. The 4, and the 1, you add 3 to that. Do you see where it says, right below, do you see where it says, it's got like a number 7, and a 4. Do you see that right below in the
Oh,
country?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I got it now.
So that's how much monarch power you generate per month. You want that to be as high as possible. Your king or your ruler or whoever the hell she is or he is generates a certain amount, and advisors can assist your ruler to generate even more power. You want to generate as much power as you can get your hands on. It's the most valuable resource in this game. It's also very, very random,
Okay.
One other thing about your rulers is that they usually have traits. So hover over the cog and the money icon next to your Grand Duke, and that's a certain trait. What trait does he have?
Is that scholar?
That's right. And what does it do?
Okay. So it gives him a tech cost of -5%.
That's right. So he basically makes our tech cost from 100% to 95, which means it's cheaper. What's the second trait?
Incorruptible.
That's right. And what does it do?
-0.05 to yearly corruption.
That's right. So this guy generates less corruption. And I'll explain what corruption is right now, actually. So we just got done with stability. Go to the next icon.
Okay.
That's corruption. And corruption is basically your nobles and your bureaucrats and shit, how loyal they are to you, to your government, to your centralized government. And having high corruption increases your technology and power costs. It makes everything that requires monarch points more expensive, which is really fucking bad. Really bad. You want your monarch point costs to be as low as humanly possible. But having high corruption actually decreases unrest across your country. So it's a give and a take. If you have a lot of rebels, you got a lot of separatists, increase corruption to bring down the unrest. But preferably you want to keep corruption as low as possible. There's actually a little tooltip. Corruption increases over time due to unbalanced research, overextension, and lack of religious unity. It can be decreased by high stability and being ahead of time in administrative or diplomatic technology. You can also spend ducats to get rid of it.
Okay.
The next, I guess, resource or whatever they call it is prestige. It's just how people view your country and how your people view your own country. Prestige, really, really high, helps out with a few things like the morale of your armies, the morale of your navies, your mercenary cost, your spy networks, your global trade power, your legitimacy, improving relations with countries, your aggressive expansion impact, and your institution embracement cost. But low prestige gives a penalty to all of those. Now, in my opinion, prestige is actually pretty expendable. I would rather lose prestige than some other resource, you know? Like, I would even probably lose prestige over money, to be honest. Money, I think, has more applications than prestige, but it's useful to have. Keeping it really high can actually really help you out, especially when you're, you know, fighting a lot of wars and, you know, you've got low legitimacy and all this shit.
Yeah, it's kind of, that little tooltip is a little difficult to tell exactly what it would be good for. I mean, many things is very vague.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, you can see the effects from your current prestige. Like, what does it say?
so global trade power +2, morale of armies +1.3,
Yeah,
morale of navies +1.3. Yeah.
yeah. So because we have positive prestige, right? We have positive 13 right now.
Okay.
If it was negative, like say negative 100, you know, we would have global trade power minus, I think, 10% or something. Morale of armies, you know, minus 10%. Like, those are pretty big. Those are pretty big moves in the other direction. So try to keep the prestige to 0 or higher, preferably not lower for too long. Prestige does have a natural decay and a natural growth. If you're over 100, it'll go down to 0. And if you're under 0, like negative 100, it'll go back to 0. So it just shifts. It's a scale from negative 100 to 100. And it always wants to go back to 0. Always. And then,
So far it's stability and prestige can have negative values then. Is that right? What about corruption?
Right. Corruption is either 0 or 100.
Okay.
Money can't be 0 or else you take a debt. Or a loan, I mean. You go into debt. If you can't take any more debt, if you've maxed out the amount of loans that you can have from your national bank and you go negative, you actually declare bankruptcy. You know. Manpower can be 0. Sailors can be 0. Let's go to legitimacy. Do you see the crown at the top?
Oh, yeah.
So legitimacy, you either have legitimacy for monarchies or republican tradition for republics. You want it to be as high as possible. Republican tradition and legitimacy. You want it to be very, very high. If you have low legitimacy, you can have revolutions and separatists and shit. There's also a thing called your claim strength, your claim to the throne. So we don't have an heir right now, but go ahead and click on the country view. And you see our duke, right? You see our duke.
Yeah.
Do we have a legal heir?
No, we have nothing underneath there.
That's right. So we have no heir who can claim legitimacy to our throne. So if our king was to die, we just say, oh, you want to be king? Fuck it, here you go. And our legitimacy would be very, very low. It'd probably be like 20 or less. So you want to have kids who have high legitimacy and high monarch points. The monarch points thing is pretty random. You don't get any influence over your kids. You can't teach them anything. There's no education system. You can't change their settings. So if we got a king, or if we have an heir who was a 000 heir, there's nothing we can do about it. The only thing that you can do is you can disinherit your heir. It costs you prestige, but there's another chance to have another kid.
So it's like that would be like taking a bad kid or somebody you don't like, and then you can hope for another one to pop up underneath them.
That's right. You can hope for a different kid. Yeah.
What if you already had one? Is that possible?
So say I had a son and he's a 000.
Okay.
I want to get rid of him. Say I disinherit him. We lose 50 prestige for that. We would have no legal heir for probably, depending on, probably for a while. Probably no legal heir. But there's a random possibility every single month that you'll have a new child. I don't think you can get much worse than a 000, so whoever comes up in his place must be better, for the most part.
Right.
So that's up to you to make that decision, though. Like, would I disinherit a 441? Would you or no?
From what you told me, and, as close to 10 as you can get, and then higher, I mean, I probably wouldn't.
Exactly. I wouldn't disinherit. I'd probably disinherit like a 112 or a 111. There's also, I could have my heir. He could be a 666, but he's got a weak claim to the throne. I would keep that heir. But if, say, I had a 111 who's a woman and she's got a weak claim, should I keep that baby? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. No, you'd probably want to hope for somebody else. So it's up to you to make that choice when that comes around, you know. Let's go on over to, so that's legitimacy, right? So keep high legitimacy, keep your heirs at strong claims. Legitimacy is naturally going up, usually. If you have royal marriages with powerful countries and alliances with powerful countries and things like that, your legitimacy goes up even more. Or if you're losing kings left and right, you're disinheriting your kids and, you know, you're having some incest and shit, your legitimacy is going to be low.
Okay.
Or events can decrease your legitimacy too, you know. Let's go and go on speed 2. And we'll go up to power projection. And power projection is basically what it kind of sounds like. How much your country can project power. You know, you're either, you know, the United States and you have like a shit ton of power projection, or you're like Lithuania in the modern day and you have like no ability to project power across the world. It affects things like morale of armies, navies, prestige, fort defense, yearly legitimacy. If you actually hover over the tooltip, if you have at least 25 power projection, you can gain an extra general or an admiral for free. And if you have at least 50 power projection, you actually get +1 to all of your monarch points that you generate per month, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, so we definitely want to hit, you know, for at least 25, but go for 50.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And you gain power projection by doing things to your rivals. You always have rival countries. I think what we can do is we can go up to your country view and go to the bird.
So diplomacy?
Diplomacy. And you can see down, it says enemies and rivals. So your enemies are people who have rivaled you. They want you to die. So we're basically Denmark, Hungary, the Teutons, and Muscovy hate us. But we rivaled Crimea, the Teutons, and the Great Horde. To get
Why do we rival them?
Because I believe that they are weak targets. Those are people that you want to attack. Yeah. We can attack them, we can take their land, take their stuff, vassalize them, and they're pretty weak. What I want to take on Denmark, or what I want to take on Hungary or Muscovy, those are a little tougher nuts to crack. We gotta be stronger for that. So if I was to attack Crimea, or if I was to attack the Teutons, or if I was to attack the Great Horde, we would gain power projection. You know, we'd destroy their armies, take their land, burn their shit. We would get a lot of power projection from that. We'd probably get like 60 or 70 if we went to war with all three, you know? And so you want to keep that power projection high. Did you get an event?
Yeah, I did.
What's the event?
Cossack aggression. Demand, is it Cossack or is it Cossack?
It's a Cossack.
Yeah, I thought so. All right, so demand that these Cossacks be brought to justice. It's just the event Cossack aggression happens. Or we will just have to let this slide. The Burgers estate loses 10 loyalty. The Schlachte, I have no clue what the heck that is. Estate loses 10 loyalty. Or we lose 1 base tax. So I'm guessing we just let the Cossacks be aggressive.
No, we can demand they be brought to justice, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's that demand that they be brought to justice. They get the happening. Then we get the Ryzian response.
Yep.
Which just says we care little for such excuses.
Did they respond? Did Ryzon respond?
Yeah, their response. They refuse to take responsibility for the raids into our country. Yeah.
Do we get
That's only one.
I wonder if we get a CB, Casus Belli.
It just says here, yeah, Casus Belli. We do get a gain border friction CB on.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's a really good fucking CB. Sick.
Is it?
Yeah, we actually might declare a war right now.
All right, yeah, well, I'll keep her paused. Yep, there goes our Casus Belli.
That's a really good power. That's a really good CB. Okay, so let's see. Before we jump into probably something like warfare, do you have any questions?
So I think I pretty much got the top bar pretty well down. Monarch points are actually the administrative and diplomatic and military powers up here, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you can actually see it where it says your name, Lithuania, in that same bar where there's the folds in the flag. It shows you your admin power, what you have right now, and then what you generate if you want to hover over it. And then it's got your Diplo and your military power.
Wait, where is that?
So at the top bar, right? Right below,
Yeah.
right below where it says prestige. Do you see those numbers?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't realize that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what you have at the bank right now. That's your reserve monarch power. And obviously we generate 7, 7, and 4 every month.
So each month I can watch those go up by 7, 7, and 4,